Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. I am excited for this week as I try to go into every week. I last week had a weird sort of turn of events. I didn't realize that I needed comfort for some reason, but I guess I did. This week I'm expecting another PMDD episode. I'm getting some early symptoms, so I'm going to act accordingly. But I thought I would introduce the vlog on a Monday. I never do that. I always just throw in some clips, and here we are. So, let's talk about what I read. Before we get into it, I would always recommend following me on Goodreads if you want to keep up to date on what I read. I don't always mention everything that I read here, especially if it's something that I finished on a day that I'm not filming sit down clips. I sometimes miss some books, so if you're really interested in what I'm reading and all that, um, it's linked down below. But in last week's vlog, I started To Paradise by Hana Yanagihara. I talked about this at length in my last video. I haven't read anymore, but I have decided that I'm going to DNF this. I just don't really feel like this is going to be as satisfying as I was expecting. Some of the writing choices were interesting, and I just don't have any desire to continue this. The cover is beautiful, and I will definitely read her other works, but this is just not it. So, that is the situation on that one. I did end up finishing the audiobook for A Daughter of No Worlds. This is a fantasy romance, the first book in a series, and the first time I read it, I gave it 3 stars. I would give it a high 3 star this time. It's basically about a woman named Tisana who starts out as a sex slave to a guy who has had her since she was a kid. She attempts to buy her freedom and it goes wrong, and she decides to join the Order, which is a split into two factions, but it's a group for magical people. And she has powers, and so in order to get into the Order, she has to apprentice with someone for 6 months, and they put her with Max, who is her love interest. It's very slow burn. The majority of the book is more slice of life, calm moments at his cottage, hanging out, falling in love, and then the ending is really where it picks up and gets sort of wild. I did like the ending of the first one because I feel like it's going in a direction that I've never read in a fantasy romance before, so I'm excited about that. And I probably will pick up the sequel sometime soon. That's kind of why I reread the first one. But I definitely don't recommend the audiobook. It's not the best. The female narrator, I'm sure she's a lovely, amazing audiobook narrator in other capacities, but in this one, it just didn't really work for me, at least. So I definitely will be continuing the rest of the books digitally. But that means that I need to move on to my next reads. So for the week, I plan on starting Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, a classic. I've never read anything by a Bronte sister before, but as far as I know, this is very dark and moody, and I'm excited to see how it goes. And then I also want to pick up Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Um, this is a fantasy about a group of witches. I have heard some not great reviews on this, namely about the inclusivity choices that are in here, but we'll see how I feel. And then I think for an audiobook, I'm probably going to pick up maybe a reread of Crescent City, and then I also might pick up New Moon. That's a physical book, not an audiobook. But yeah. So those are the reading plans for the week. Like I say in every video, I don't have much planned for the week. Um my life is very normal and repetitive, and I like it that way. I prefer having a routine. I don't like when things go absolutely bonkers. So this week is kind of just a do my thing, read some good books, maybe play and finish Kingdom Hearts 1 and go on to Kingdom Hearts 2. Um, Finish Shadow and Bone, fingers crossed, and catch up on my animes. And then on Friday, my partner is going to play Magic at a local comic book store. So I have Friday to myself, but other than that, like, not anything crazy happening this week. So I will probably talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoy the video, and we will talk later. So this is a historical romance that I found when I was helping my mom this weekend. She was moving some stuff, and so I found a box that had like books and stuff in it, and I decided to read this. It is from 1996, which is the year I was born, and I have been kind of loosely wanting and looking for a historical romance released in the year that I was born, because I just kind of want to see what they were like and all that. I think this is even one of those cards that used to come in Avon books that you could redeem for things. This might have came in a People magazine. So at some point I desperately need to read this because I want to know, what was historical romance like the year that I was born? Like this tagline, out of a midnight coach stepped Ravenscar, the perfect gothic mystery man, dark and brooding and rumored to have done murder. But he is also flesh and blood and infinitely more seductive than anything she had ever created. So I'm excited to see what this is all about. I don't think I've heard of this author either. So come on. Hi friends, happy Wednesday. I am working from home today, so I thought I could give you kind of a little update on what's going on. I am anticipating a PMDD episode within the next week or so, so I've kind of just been trying to battle any issues that I have that come up because I don't want to go into an episode feeling stressed already. So yesterday I laid in bed majority of the day. I got home from work and I was really tired and I got in bed. I've been reading I started and swiftly DNF'd Wuthering Heights. The largest issue that I had is while I understand the writing and narrative style choices, I don't enjoy reading books like that are written like that. So, if you don't know, Wuthering Heights is about a violent and passionate romance between a woman and a man, Heathcliff and Catherine. But the story is told through the point of view of it's like secondhand tellings of their story, and I don't like that. That it never feels intimate enough for me. And while I appreciate what the intention behind the secondhand accounting is, I just don't enjoy the reading experience of that. So I decided to DNF that for good. And then I finished Throne of Glass. I can't remember if I mentioned it that I was reading it in my previous clip, but I finished the first book. Similar experiences to the other times that I've read it. It's an okay book. It's an easy read. It's a good start to the series and like what unfolds in the series, but it's not the best. It's not my favorite. But I did manage to finish it. I got 275 pages into Her Majesty's Royal Coven. This is the dust jacket, but the naked hardcover is way prettier, so we're just gonna hold this up. But know that this is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. I am 275 pages in, and it's fine. So I didn't know this prior to picking the book up. Like, I had actually not heard anybody talk about this book before I picked it up, but it is a response to J.K. Rowling's TERF comments and turfness and transphobic comments on Twitter. So that is sort of her response. So it's about a coven of witches who are coming back together to fight a big bad. The intention behind the book, why she wrote it, I think is great. But the actual book itself is fine. The characters feel pretty hollow. The plot progression is not that interesting. The character work is not interesting. And because there is really no fast moving plot, the characters need to be a little bit stronger, and they're not. It is told in multiple points of view. There was a war that they fought in previously. Several of the characters are no longer part of that coven. One of the witches is pretending to be a human. One of them is started her own coven, and one of them is now like a vet. And then you're also getting the point of view of a transphobic leader of their old coven, like the largest coven in the UK that actually works alongside the government. And there is a character that is trying to get into the coven who is trans, and there is a lot of debate around that. And I am assuming the author uses a lot of rhetoric similar to what J.K. Rowling has said, and then the story is like combating that. So you're getting the point of view of the villain and also, the protagonists. And like I said, I enjoy the intention. I'm glad that this book exists. It's just not my perfect book. And yeah, like it's a fine read, but it's not anything spectacular. The best thing about this is I can put this on my pink shelf, face it out, and it's absolutely one of my favorite books in my collection. So I do love the cover and the design. They did a fantastic job. This is one of the Fairy Loot adult editions, and I love it. The book itself is not my favorite, so it'll probably end up being like a 3-star, but I'm hoping to finish it today. Like I said, I'm on 275, and it is 450 pages. It is, I think, going to be a trilogy. I don't know if I'll pick up the second one. We'll see. But yeah, so that is sort of what I've been reading. I haven't decided what I want to read next, but I think I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But yeah, so that is the update. We'll talk again later.
So we have the next cast up won't start for
this looks okay. I'm filming this on my phone. So, it is Friday. It's been a hell of a week. Our oldest cat, Gotham, got sick on Wednesday into Thursday, and she was not eating, not drinking, is drinking now, and we have a vet appointment tomorrow if she's not improved and eaten by then. But it was stressful. I feel like we just have so much going on with our animals all the time, and it just feels like it's always back to back. So I'm very soon anticipating something's gonna go on with the ferrets. Like, it's just bound to happen. But yeah, so she is doing better. I'm getting updates while I'm at work, and then I'll be off in like an hour or so. My partner is at home with her. I was with her yesterday. This weekend is probably just going to be monitoring her and making sure she's okay. We might go to the vet, we might not. Not the vet itself, but taking cats to the vet in particular is cats are very susceptible to stress, and stress has a lot of bad effects on their body. I wanted to make sure that it was something that she needed medicine for, like that a vet would have to give, like an exam and all that, before we went through taking her to the vet, because I don't want to put undue stress on her if this is like something that she can, you know, get over on her own. But it sounds like she's doing better, and yeah, I just am very happy about that. So that is that. I have been reading, but we'll talk about that. But I have been reading, and I'm really enjoying what I'm reading, so we'll talk about that once I'm home. But yeah, I thought I should give you an update. So.
And this one he's like, we also got sheepishly. For IKEA lamps, our discounts.